We are in the final stretch of the Ironman challenge. Honestly, we have been building towards this push since day one, whether we knew it or not. From the earliest building blocks of getting our initial blueprints, finding where resources could be collected, learning our limits and pushing past setbacks, we now have 2 career paths left to complete: exploration and Soldier of Fortune. Soldier of Fortune is going to be the most difficult challenge we've ever faced in this series. I just did not fully comprehend how big the disadvantage we were going to be at. While I formulate a plan on how to tackle this wide gap, I'm going to first clear the exploration path. It should be relatively easy for us to get this out of the way and a nice change of pace. This is also going to be a nice way for us to collect salvage so we can make an abundance of rigs later on. And that little extra edge is going to help us in the long run. Of course, during the search for relic sites, all I can find are wormholes. And that's a wormhole. Wormhole. Another wormhole. Yeah, this one has to be another wormhole. Yeah, another wormhole. Another wormhole. All right, wormhole. Another wormhole. Another wormhole. Another wormhole. Another wormhole.
I think I'm losing my mind.
Another fucking wormhole. I swear. Another wormhole. Another wormhole. Seriously? After finding so many wormholes and not enough relic sites, I decided to end the night with mining some ore to at least get some industry material we'll need for our PvP push. The next day, I set straight off to trying to find some relic sites so I can hack cans for the exploration goal, as well as the salvage material I mentioned earlier. Another wormhole. While exploring the area, I end up scanning down a very worthwhile find: a rogue drone asteroid infestation DED combat site. This site contains none other than Amber. It's also not too difficult, and we can certainly clear the site to collect the isogen inside. So I run back to Point to grab my cormorant and start clearing most of the site. As long as we leave at least a few of the rogue drones alive, the site won't despawn, and I can mine as much of the Amber as I want. Actually, I'm going to take out all these little drones, because they're getting a little close. A little close for comfort. Clearing out the site was easy. I rush back to get my venture and I start mining some Amber. But when I arrive, a Gila has scanned down and was in the site as well. It was very likely he was going to finish the last few rats and despawn the site. There's literally no reason for you to be in here. The site's cleared, dude. You're wasting your time. So every time I leave to drop off a load of Amber, I need to be very quick to get back so I can keep the site active. The Gila leaves descan after a little bit, so I knew my countdown timer for free Amber had started. A few Garistas arrive, a mechanic I only recently became aware of, something not a lot of players probably know about these days. If you are in a DED site for a long time, eventually pirate NPCs of the local variety, in this case Garistas, will arrive to harass you. So while I'm mining, I need to take care of these NPCs before proceeding. It was at this point I start to think, wow, I've been super lucky that the site hasn't despawned yet. So I mine out the entire Amber asteroid in the first pocket before the site despawned. I went into the second pocket and I mined the smaller Amber asteroids in there. It wouldn't be much, but every little bit counts. When that dried up, I took a peek into the last pocket and, to my surprise, the last drones and all the loot was still there.
Would you look at that?
The Gila must have entered the second pocket, saw all the wrecks, and presumed the whole site had been cleared and left. There was more Amber in the final pocket, and my venture could easily handle the last 2 rogue drones, so I took care of them and wrapped up the site. I also got a faction armor resistance coating module, so this may or may not end up on a future PvP ship, or just be a cool memento. Now, with the site actually finished this time, and it being very late, I fill up my mining hold one last time with Amber and dock up for the night. In total, I ended up with almost 15,000 units of isogen, which should supply us quite well for the rest of the run, and I go to bed. The following day, I head back to Point, grab my Batcher, and I go pick up the Amber from the previous adventure. I start building shield rigs for my future PvP ships, and I go pick up blueprints for a warp scrambler, micro warp drive, afterburner, light neutron blasters, light electron blasters, stasis weaponfire, and a small ancillary current router rig. I'm also getting fed up with the mess in my item hire, and I'm sure I've annoyed a lot of you. So I go purchase a station container so I can organize my stuff. I get started manufacturing some items to start filling out my fittings, and while things cook, I do some level 1 missions to kill my station containers are done. I spend some time organizing. While I can't promise things will always be neat and tidy for the rest of this video, it will certainly be better than whatever the current state of my hangar was. After getting organized, I go on another mining trip to get some jaspet from low-sec. But what was strange was in the middle of my mining session, the rogue drone rats just decided to entirely ignore me. I don't know what I did other than warping in and out like last time, but all I had to deal with was a pirate cruiser. I did not dare launch my drones in case it changed the behavior of the rogue drones, so I wasn't able to remove the pirate cruiser and needed to still warp in and out. With 1.5 loads of jaspet, I mined out the first asteroid and needed to switch to another. That change caused the rogue drones to become aggressive again, but after a bit, it was just too little jaspet for the effort and I decided to pack it in. I got the jaspet home and I called it a night. I got on next. The exploration career path had just a few more challenges left to go to be completed. One of them being scanning and hacking containers in relic and data sites. Midway into our journey, however, I finally spotted it. A Garista lookout. I have been searching for this for several days now, since it is a combat site that has jaspet and hemerphite, providing me with noxium and isogen. I bookmark it and I start heading towards to pick up my cormorant when I spot the other thing I was also looking for. Oh my gosh.
Would you look at that?
What's here? What is here? There's just a single procurer. How far away am I from home? An Empire border asteroid field with rare null-sec materials I can't get anywhere else. There was already a mining barge in the site, so I prioritized grabbing my venture instead and started mining. But that adventure is short-lived when a multi-boxer arrives and eats the rest of the belt. At one point, the multi-boxer started to specifically target the asteroids I was mining and chomp them up first. Oh well. We ended up with most of my mining hold with yttrium and some deuterium. So we got some megasite and isogen. Back to the Garista lookout, I grabbed my cormorant from Poinan and clean up most of the site, making sure not to finish it. Then I proceeded to mine nearly 15,000 cubic meters worth of jaspet. Once I had my fill, I finished the Garista lookout with my cormorant and ended up with 1,800 units of noxium, 9,600 units of isogen, and 105 units of megasite. Not bad at all. Now, after mining these resources, I am just 30 points away from completing the exploration career path, and all I have to do is fly into one low-sec region I have not been to yet. And drum roll. Yeah, that is 3 air career program paths completed. With another 200,000 skill points and a career path done, we are in the home stretch. I am still hurting for some resources, however, and I need an actual source of Zydrane, so I need to go into null-sec for the first time. I get myself a blueprint for a core probe launcher and more core probes, fit it to my venture, and I filament into null. I end up in horde space, and I am terrified every moment that I'm here. Yeah, we've got a... nope.
I'm in danger.
Ow. Okay, what about the medium Arcanor? Okay. We are in business. Let's get to work. I live in null-sec normally. Why am I so stressed? Because I know what can go wrong. I need to calm my nerves and do something. Our log off timer is done. We can safely log out if we need to. Eventually, I'm able to get a full load of Bistot, which should give me enough Zydrane for the rest of the challenge. Now, how do I leave? We have to find a wormhole. If we can find a wormhole in the next 4 jumps, I'm going to be happy. For once, I'm actually hoping for a wormhole. Of course, there's a fucking bubble. Here we go. We're deeper down the chain. High sec! Yes! Yes, 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 yes! Oh, we're in a Mars space. We are 56 jumps from home, but we are in high sec. We are not going through Amazon. I am taking the long way. Yes, 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 yes. Point in. I've never been so happy to see you. Let's reprocess this. 298 units of Zydrine. Now I have my fit. It may not be the best or most efficient or effective, but this is what we have for our upcoming PvP attempts. A Neutron Blaster Merlin with some buffer and intended to get in close and brawl. While the fit is in the oven, I decided to try something absolutely stupid. I found that officer frigates spawn in 0.5 space of the home region of the faction they belong to. So after watching the efforts of another person hunting down officer frigates, it was later I realized he was actually in a cruiser, I decided to ask myself, wouldn't it be cool to get an officer module on an Ironman account? Yeah, I thought that sounded cool too. Too bad it doesn't end that well. I found an island 0.5 star system. A 0.5 system that is entirely surrounded by low sec. I thought this would be a prime location for finding an officer frigate. Too bad it was also in a Cosmos constellation. You see, the entire low sec I've been hanging around in is a Cosmos constellation. A series of star systems that contain mission agents and special combat sites and other activities. It's where storyline modules are most prevalent and faction standings can be raised. I warped into an asteroid belt, except the entire asteroid belt was taken over by a special combat landmark. Crap, 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 run, run, run. Don't fucking bounce, don't fucking bounce, don't fucking bounce. Son of a... Come on, not again. And I promptly lost our second cormorant of the series. Fuck! Unlike our first cormorant loss though, I learned my lesson and I was able to get into an ibis and actually recover the dropped loot this time. So this lessened the sting, and now I have the materials and means to recover quickly from a loss like this. So I only beat myself up a little this time. On the bright side, losing ships is part of the Soldier of Fortune career path as well, so we have that going for us. When returning home with one less destroyer, I take a look at the career path ahead and I see add a new contact. So I just need to add someone as a contact and I'll get 10 points towards the goal. I of course add Lynn Rankin as a contact. I mean, we are working to free her, and it's not like she can do anything else at the moment. So we add her as a contact and go on our way. Back home, I do some math on the Soldier of Fortune path to determine what activities I need to do in order to complete it. And the points are going to be tight on this. And it all hinges on a single mission: joining a corporation. Remember, this entire time I have to be in an NPC corporation. And I know that if you are in a NPC corporation and you join faction warfare, it changes you to a different NPC corporation. However, we don't know if joining this new NPC corporation will count towards the goal, or if it intends for us to join a player corporation. If this doesn't work, we're going to be in trouble. And it fucking counts! Yes! But thankfully, by joining the Caldari state as our home for faction warfare, it counts. We still have an upward grind, but we are continuing to make progress. I count up points, and this is what we need to do in order to complete this Soldier of Fortune career path. We need to warp disrupt another player for 5 combined minutes. Warp scram another player for 5 combined minutes. Webify another player for 5 combined minutes. Weapon disrupt another player for 5 combined minutes. Target paint another player for 5 combined minutes. And that's not all. No. We need to deliver the final blow on 5 total player ships, not including capsules or corvettes. We need to capture and defend 2 different faction complexes. Complete a level 1 faction warfare mission. Drain 250 gigajoules of capacitor. Neutralize 2,000 gigajoules of capacitor. Lose 20 ships, and challenge another player to a duel. If we're not able to do one or more of these items, we are in for a world of hurt and a lot more time spent. With our goals set, I set off manufacturing more of our Merlin fits, distracting myself with dailies and resource gathering between manufacturing jobs. I decide, since we are rebuilding our cormorant, to do something a little experimental, a hull tanked cormorant. And I go collect transverse bulkhead blueprints from Amazon, since these rigs can only be found in Empire NPC space where armor tanking is most prevalent, like Amar or Galente. And Amazon is the closest to us. Grabbing my shuttle, I try to get in and out as quickly as possible. What the heck is it? What the heck are arcs doing there? I don't like this. I don't like being here. Now we run back to Poinan.
Hello, motherfucker.
And we are through. And I managed to do so. After that excursion, with more items in the oven, I decided to get a couple faction warfare tasks done. So I break out my Merlin and work to capture and defend my first complexes, and maybe take on my first level 1 faction warfare mission, which has me going 15 jumps deep into Calente's back line. Hopefully no one will notice me or disturb me, given that once I start a mission, anyone can warp to me in it. Thankfully, I'm able to remove Galente's supply ships from attempting to reactivate an old and damaged Stargate, undisturbed. Feeling rather confident, I decide to test my Merlin fit against an opponent for the first time. Oh, I'm taking more damage than I'm dealing. Manually pilot this thing. It's gonna be close. This is when I'm reminded how big of a gap I am at a disadvantage of between Tech 1 and Tech 2 gear. There's simply better base values and more skills to apply extra damage bonuses to. So this is going to be an upward battle I don't know if I'm quite prepared for, and I'm learning solo PvP for the first time. I may need to be more picky with my fights in faction warfare. Back in Poinan, I set myself up with another Merlin, with a small ancillary shield booster fit, to go find a less risky target in faction warfare. This is when I find a Federation Navy Comet in a complex on D-Scan. I know I can't take it on by myself, but a friendly Tormentor arrives. And without a single word, and simply trusting that we'd go in together without communicating, we both slide and take on the Fed Navy Comet. The Comet is already at range, not good for us. But the Tormentor burns in to close the gap, and I follow as best as I can, but my afterburner can't keep up. The Comet determines the Tormentor is a bigger threat and sends its drones after it. I turn and burn to meet those drones and try to focus them down and take heat off my impromptu faction warfare friend. But I wasn't able to properly deal with them, and I tunnel vision on the drones. I should have burned for the Comet to hold it down and pound on it while it was focused on the Tormentor. Sadly, the Tormentor went down, and the Comet planned to burn into me and hold me down for his drones. I wouldn't be able to hold up against it, and I had to retreat. After capturing a few more faction warfare complexes, I end up facing another Federation Navy Comet, and got a potent reminder that I can't brawl these on my own. Grabbing one of my buffer Merlins, since I was now without an ancillary shield booster, I head back out, determined to keep going. It's here that I end up taking out a few autopiloting capsules as some sort of consolation prize, hoping to wash off the skunk and break the bad luck streak. Without finding any more targets of opportunity and avoiding the level 5 insurgency systems, I head back to Poinan to get my new PvP fit Cormorant. And I lose it to a Merlin. I have to seriously start rethinking my strategy. This is not working. With another Cormorant in the oven, with a neutralizing FU fit, I try one more time to get a kill with my buffer Merlin fit, this time trying to hunt near my local low-sec pocket. While I'm hunting in low-sec, I consider an alternative. I decide to switch things up. If Blasters is too close range and doesn't offer enough control, and I need more control, I would need something fast, with range, and able to have some level of control. It would require almost a week's worth of skill training to get it done, but I decided I needed to switch to a Condor. I purchase the blueprints I need, and I get started on making this a reality. While that is in progress, my neutralizing Cormorant is ready to go, and I head straight for faction warfare space, so I'm not idle. and I lose it immediately because when I warp to a faction warfare site, a Caldari Navy hookbill is waiting and closes the gap on me before I can warp out. I think I'm finished with cormorants for right now. I get started on mining, ratting, and salvaging to get materials for all the rigs I would be putting together and modules I would be making for the condors. I decide to try one last time with the Merlin. I go into horde space to see if I can catch any mining ships, but I get bubbled and I misjudge a fight. As a result of that fight, I had lost enough ships that I was rewarded with a condor. So at least that is one less condor I need to build. With my first condor off the production line and fully fitted, I use a friendly complex to practice maneuvers and preset orbits so I can go into my first fight with confidence, and practicing to try and minimize transversal velocity. My wife told me I was overthinking it and just needed to outrun the bullets, so I guess she understands the concept. After not finding any fights for almost a half hour, I find a lone Tristan that had barely killed anything on Z Killboard, at least until he encountered me. Back to manufacturing I go. I take another condor out and I start hunting away from faction warfare, trying to find targets of opportunity. But it's mostly empty or nearly uncatchable ships. I head back to faction warfare space, feeling demoralized, and then feeling even more demoralized when I can't find anything there either. I do a lot of searching in and around faction warfare space. I've gotten myself spooked, and I won't take any fight I don't think I can win. I feel low, the lowest I've felt in this Ironman. The difference between Tech 2 and Tech 1 is so apparent, it seems nearly impossible for me. That's when I spot my best opportunity yet. A pirate faction warfare player in a Merlin, autopiloting back to the Garista home space in Venal. I chase him into nullsec, staying with him every step of the way. He is truly AFK and autopiloting. But after chasing him for 20 minutes, greed gets a hold of me. And instead of waiting for an opportunity to catch him on the other side of a gate, I engage him as he's approaching to the gate. I take out his shields, but he jumps through. And now being 60 seconds behind him, I won't catch up at all. I get chased down and dodge a malediction in Venal. Then I make my way home, taking out another capsule to feel good about myself even a little. In frat space, I hang out near Anzablex jump gates to try and intercept incoming traffic, but no dice, and I return home empty-handed yet again. I decide to switch up my strategy, and I go to Jita to try and challenge people to a duel, and at least participate in some duels. But no one is interested in dueling even a little frigate. So I head back towards frat space, and try camping Anzablexes again, and I nearly die to an Ishtar. But I don't die this time, thankfully.
Progress.
After repairing in an NPC station, I go back into frat space to try and hunt a little deeper, but a gang and their interdictor are waiting for me on the other side of the gate.
I'm in danger.
The interdictor bubble goes up and doesn't encompass my side of the gate, and I'm able to warp away, create a safe, and safely log off in space and wait them out. After logging back in, I return to Onamon safely. After taking the shipcaster, I find a Federation Navy Comet. Despite my prior experiences, I think I can mitigate the Comet's blasters while I take on its drones, but I'm too slow on the trigger and die almost immediately. The Condor that had survived going into nullsec 3 times, getting chased down by a malediction, and dodged the gate camp was gone. I want to make this work, so I go at it again. This time I try filamenting out into a random nullsec system and find targets of opportunity. I end up catching a squall. I get through most of its shields, and then it just warps away since it knew it could get away from me the entire time and chose to toy with me. Well played. A confessor catches me and sends me back to Poinen. I'm now actually at my lowest when I can't even take out a hauler. Maybe I was being too greedy, maybe I wasn't doing the right moves or employing the right strategies. I'm mostly trying to figure out solo PvP for myself without any outside assistance, and being on an Ironman, this just makes the learning curve even steeper. That's why I decide to throw honor out the window. If I can't take on 1v1 fights in my current state, I'm going to become the bully. I look for the most vulnerable target I can think of, that's easy to spot and get to, and can't fight back. Venture Sinos. Specifically, Venture Sinos that are on a Citadel, since I forgot how much damage low-sec station guns can put out. With my map filtered to show sinosaural fields in the area, and the map nearly updates in real time when a sino is lit, I scan for targets within a 10-jump radius of me, and I start hitting these defenseless ships left, right, and center. Yes! We got our first kill! Yes! Yes, 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 yes! Hehehe. My second kill. All right, kill number 3. I just need to kill one more venture. Yes! We got all 5 kills! We got all 5 kills! I did it. I got 5 kills on an Ironman character. I also unlocked the final overall milestone, getting me an additional 250,000 skill points. I wasn't done yet, but I finally had a path that let me see the light at the end of the tunnel. I just needed to find a few more industrial sinos to farm capacitor warfare and ECM goals. And then I need to lose a total of 20 ships to finish the Ironman off. I go bully some more venture sinos with the intent to take them out at the end, but by the time I was done farming the ECM goals, their sino was done and they'd be able to dock. After a quick refit on my condor, I end up finding a sino sigil to farm the rest of my capacitor warfare goals on. With all those goals done, it was just time to lose 6 more ships. I was not going to just let someone kill me 6 times. I was going to try and go down swinging to take down someone with me. So I set up my last manufacturing jobs to construct buffer merlins and condors to finish off this Ironman. After losing a fight to a Republic Fleet Firetail, I actually end up finding someone along the way who was a watcher of the series. At first, he didn't want to fight me because he thought it would be unfair.
Hey, Joey, do you want to eat me?
No thanks, Mr. Muffin.
But I want to die.
Since he was in a Imperial Navy Slicer and I was in a Merlin, but this is Eve. You literally never know what might happen. He also didn't know I was trying to lose ships at this point. And I did try to catch him, but hey, he got me. Good fight, Wolf Runner. Thank you for watching the series, and I hope to run into you again in the future. I set back up and I go again. I have 4 losses left to go. This time I decide to hunt deep in the Galente back line, and I find and actually catch a legitimate venture. Not a sino venture, a regular venture.
They're the same picture.
Okay, I'm the villain. It also dropped the only Tech 2 gear I've ever seen on this Ironman. And based on the comments in the last video, nearly everyone said I am allowed to keep what I killed. Like Riddick. The logic being, they're not trying to help me. With that bit of boost to my confidence, I find a Tristan and die. 3 losses left to go. I set up another Merlin and decided to switch my plan up a little and try to catch a venture in my old stomping grounds in Cloud Ring. And I'm actually doing not too bad of a job of taking out drones. The DPS was almost mitigated until a Kestrel came in and finished the job.
Somebody kill me!
2 losses left to go. I filament to Paragon Soul and I try to take out a Dracaris Ishtar and get blapped. 1 loss left to go. Before I get into the final ship loss that ends this entire run and frees my main character again because the air career program will be complete, why did I do this? Why did I do this in the first place with this challenge? There's a few reasons for this, but the one that drove me the most was the love I had for this game. I can safely say that I've gained a new appreciation for the player market in the game. I was burning out with the game. And very surprisingly, with this masochistic challenge, it was just the right medicine for me personally. I encountered and found game mechanics that have probably been lost by many people. Found ways to get resources in unexpected ways. I challenged myself and overcame it. But I have a more important reason for all of this. You, the viewer. And I literally do not mean this in a corny way. The Eve veteran who's on a break from the game and still keeping up by watching these videos. The new bro who is struggling with mechanics for the first time and overcoming their own set of challenges. And the person who is not quite sure if they're ready to take the plunge into this game yet. I had a simple, hidden goal this entire time with this series. If I can play EVE Online with these ridiculous rules and set of restrictions and still have fun while doing it, you can have fun too when you're not faced with these restrictions. Or maybe you're just as masochistic as me and you want some inspiration. Normally this would be where I would say, come join Slow, use my recruitment link, and while a selfish part of me will indeed say that and leave this in, a louder part of me just wants to extend an invitation to you to join us in this game of EVE Online, no matter what group you join, and have fun. I filament to Aquarius, and along the way I visit 1DQ, the former home of Goonswarm, capital of the Imperium. I visited the first Innominate Palace. It recently had a Viking funeral, held in symbolic goodbye for its 8-year history and for its namesake, Innominate. In all my time with Lynn Rankin and other alts, I've never made it out to 1DQ in my nearly 14 years of playing EVE, and here I am, after the goons have gone. Now I get to see this with Mainless Mike before my journey ends. I end up finding an initiative bot, farming Blood Raider belts nearby. And I yet again, as par for the course, don't focus my priority correctly and don't manage to take it out. I try warping back in to focus on the single drone that was out, but I had taken too much damage early in the fight and fell. With that, the challenge is complete. I have not touched the player market or traded a single ISK or item with another player. No help, no assistance. Lynn Rankin is back. Her skill queue is going again. I have a new appreciation for EVE Online and its many systems and styles of play. I'll be keeping Mainless Mike as pure as I can, not trading on the player side of the market at all to keep its Ironman status. Like I mentioned in a previous episode, I have other ideas for Ironman challenges in the future, even more masochistic than this one. I just want to say to everyone who has watched this series, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh, and by the way, someone in Esoteria said hello to Mainless Mike as well, and it was great meeting you too. Roll the credits.